Hi guys, in this video I'll be sharing a guide on things that you will be needing before you begin your MBBS journey, and some things that are absolutely necessary in this journey and some things that are not. So if you are about to begin your med school journey, then you are at the right place. In case you're new here, I'm Dr. Sneha, an intern at Bowring and Lady Curzon Hospitals, and I have completed my MBBS from Sri Atal Bihari Vajpayee Medical College, Bangalore. First of all, I would like to congratulate you on clearing NEET and getting selected into a medical college because it's not easy. So, congratulations on that. And beginning with the things that you'll be needing, the first and most important thing is courage. Yes, you heard me right. It's courage. With all the things that has been happening with us around and with all the violence against doctors that you might have come across, so one definitely needs courage to opt in for such a profession. I'm not discouraging or saying that you made a wrong decision or anything like that. But this kind of news, this kind of violence, this kind of incidents happen in every profession. It's just that the frequency of such incidents has of late increased in the medical profession. So yeah, one does require courage and determination if if you are opting for MBBS despite knowing all this. Then, talking about the most essential thing in a medical college, that is an apron or white coat, as you may know. So, you don't have to buy a white coat or an apron beforehand because in many colleges, in fact, in most of the colleges, we'll have to wear a white coat with a college logo on it. So that will be available through a vendor in your college, and so you can just eventually buy it after your college starts. So and the process will be explained to you when your college begins. And even otherwise, you don't have to wear an apron on the first day of your college. In fact, you're not supposed to wear an apron on the first day. So we get to wear the white coat or apron only after our white coat ceremony is done. That happened for us in the first month of college. Two aprons would suffice. Most of us got two aprons in the first year, and that is actually enough. But during the end of second year or third year, I just got an extra apron for safety purpose, like just as like a backup. If one is dirty and we put it for wash and the other has not dried, or basically just to keep the consequences in mind, I just kept an extra apron. And in first year though, we'll have to wear our apron in everywhere we go, like during our class hours and in dissection lab, in biochem lab, physio lab, everywhere we'll have to wear our apron except during our theory exams. So, like at least in our university, we are not allowed to wear an apron for our final theory exams. So, but for practical exams, apron is a must. Neatly washed and ironed apron is a must, and all this also, matters a lot in practical exams. If you sometimes forget your apron for theory classes, so still it is fine, but especially from second year for your clinical postings and all, and even for first year during our labs, we were very strict regarding, our professors were very strict regarding the aprons, so it is a must. Since we're talking about the aprons, let me also tell you regarding the dress code. Many colleges, especially in South India, they have specific dress code, and especially for girls, we have to wear only kurta or salwar, and jeans are not allowed. Also, shoes was mandatory during the first year, especially in dissection hall and all. Especially for us, since we were the first batch, we had extensive rules, and even ankle length leggings were not allowed for us. And there were many other rules I can't recollect of, and general rules like you have to keep your hair well groomed, nails trimmed, and all that stuff. And for boys, it is like formals with formal shoes. And during dissection and during performing practicals in biochem lab and all, we had to keep our hair tied at any cost, and that our professors were pretty strict regarding that. Now it has become a little lenient maybe, but during our first year it was really strict. Then coming about other essentials in anatomy, for dissection we had to get a dissection kit. It is basically a kit with a scalpel and two to three different forceps. I don't remember any other thing that was in the kit. So it's basically needed for dissecting the cadavers, and yeah, it is an essential, and each of us are expected to have a separate dissection kit. And in our college, we were also advised to carry unsterile gloves because it won't be provided actually during dissection. So we'll have to wear our own gloves and do the dissection. So we had just bought a pack of gloves. So this can be bought at any surgical store. We had got ours from a store which where we bought our medical textbooks from. So yeah, it can be bought from any surgical store as well. Unsterile gloves are enough. It basically comes in a box from where you can just pull the gloves. Sterile gloves are much more costly and it's not needed for dissection. Sterile gloves are meant for OT purposes, so that's not needed here. So for dissection, again, we need a dissection manual, and the most widely used is Cunningham's manual. Just ask your seniors and see which manual is followed in your college, because it also depends on college to college. And initially most of us from our class had bought a different manual, and so then we were advised to take photocopy of starting few pages of the Cunningham's manual, and that was mandatory for dissection. So yeah, basically any dissection manual which your seniors follow and which your professors advise, you can go for that. Another essential for anatomy practicals is the H&E pencils that you use in histology. H&E actually stands for hematoxylin and eosin pencils. They have a specific, they're not just any color pencils, and their lead is made of graphite mixed with some clay or something like that, and it has a different kind of texture while drawing as well. So that is needed for diagrams in histology and in physiology as well, where you have to draw blood smear diagrams and everything like that. So that is needed. It is kind of expensive, like it was around 50 rupees for one pencil or something like that, but it is absolutely necessary, and you'll only be needing these pencils in first and second year of MBBS, and you won't be using them after later on. Now coming to every medico's prized possession, that is the stethoscope. So you will be needing a stethoscope for physiology practicals, for basic practical exercises like checking BP, auscultation and other stuff. So you don't have to go ahead and buy a high-end or expensive stethoscope just for this purpose. Any basic stethoscope will do the work job for you. Most of them go for microtone or other basic stethoscope in the first year, because honestly you won't be needing it for any other purpose. Like you won't even be auscultating on actual patients during the first year. So yeah, if you really want to, then you can definitely go ahead and buy a Littmann for yourself. But and that is just not needed in first year is what I meant to say. Maybe you can invest in it later at some later point in your MBBS journey. And for physiology practicals, few basic other equipments are needed, just like lancets, sterile swab and all that stuff. They are just minor things, and you will get it at any store like surgical store near your medical college. So that is for preparing blood smears. You'll have to prick yourself, use your own blood for the experiments in the first year. So yeah. So coming to the textbooks, unlike our school days, we don't have fixed textbooks in MBBS. So you'll have to follow based on what your college seniors use, or what is recommended by your university, your professors and all that stuff. Initially we didn't have seniors, so I had actually bought a lot of books that I never used throughout my MBBS. I had actually bought the books earlier in my MBBS, like in my first year, very early on I bought the books. And so in my first year, since I didn't have any seniors, I had actually bought the books based on what that medical bookstore ka people said. And I had bought many books which were not at all necessary, and they were like I have never used some of those books even until now, so they were waste. So you don't have to hurry. Like ask your professors, ask your seniors, see what's followed in your college, and there may be 2-3 books which are recommended. And if you have a dilemma between any two books, then you can go to your library and check out those books, see what is according to your study pattern, see what is better suited for you, and then go ahead. Or if it's not available in your library, then you can just borrow it from your seniors, see what works for you and then buy. Let me just say the basic books that we followed. For anatomy, we have majorly two books, Vishram Singh and BD Chaurasia. But our HOD suggested us to go for Vishram Singh, as it has many, easy to draw diagrams, easy to follow diagrams, and that can be easily replicated in our exams. So it was a good book. Even for neuroanatomy, we have a separate, like usually a separate book is followed, and I went for Vishram Singh for neuroanatomy as well. Then for physiology, we have many books like G.K. Pal, A.K. Jain, Sembulingam and Indu Khurana, if I am not wrong. So I had followed G.K. Pal, and it is easy to follow book, and it is nice. Again, for biochemistry, there are two major books, Vasudevan and Satyanarayanan, and in our college, majority of us followed Vasudevan. Like both of them are in a easy to use language, so you can go for anything that your seniors suggest. Then for practicals in anatomy, there's no need of a book, separate book for practicals. In physiology, we again followed GK Pal, I guess. And for biochemistry, we went for a book that was written by our HOD, our then HOD. So it is Practicals of Biochemistry, and our HOD ma'am's name was Dr. Vilma. So we went for that book. For embryology, again, we need a different book, and there are many books available. So our professors had suggested us a book called, Embryology by Yogesh Sontake. So I had read that, but then eventually I also referred to Langmans because I found that very interesting. So Langmans is an international author for embryology, and all these were Indian author books that I informed for anatomy, physiology, and biochem. There are other international authors or standard books as well, like Gray's Anatomy for anatomy, and for physiology, it is Guyton and Hall and Genong. There are two separate books, and for biochem there is Lippincott, I guess. Yeah, it's Lippincott. And all these books, they may seem interesting to read, and they are nice for concept building and all, but while coming to framing answers in exams, it is difficult to study from these books and write answers. Physiology, though, it's still okay. You can read from Guyton and Genome maybe and write answers, but for others, it is difficult. Trust me, I have tried it. I have, gone through a few concepts just because that first year ka Josh, and I thought of, okay, let me read from standard books, and I had actually read a few topics from those books, but it is difficult to replicate it in exams. So instead of studying these books for entire year and then switching to the Indian author books just before the exams, it is better to go to the books that you can easily refer back to and revise again and again, because repeated revision is what consolidates things in your memory. So it's better to go for Indian author book is what I feel, and you can definitely refer to these international authors for some topics, or some when your professor suggests to read certain topics or certain concepts from these books, then, or some tables, so then you can just refer to these books for those particular concept. This is just my opinion. In case you're really interested or you have lots of time in your hand, you can definitely go ahead and read international author books. It is like there's a reason why it's called the gold standard books. So yeah. Then coming to the elephant in the room, whether you absolutely need a tab or iPad in your first year of MBBS. Well, no. Honestly, when we were in first year, very few of us in a batch of 150 had tabs or iPads, and like it's not absolutely necessary, but many of them, since they now refer to ebooks, PDFs, and make digital notes, like they prefer iPads and tabs because of it's easier to carry, and it saves a lot of space. If you want to refer to standard books, and many of them refer to it in a PDF format, because just for reference purpose, for reading one or two concepts, it's not feasible to buy an entire book that is maybe of thousands of pages, and you'll never end up, that you'll never end up reading that. So for that, like if you download PDFs for that, then tabs or iPads will definitely be useful, because it is more easier to navigate through PDFs in a tab rather than in a laptop. And in like mobile can also serve the purpose, but since the screen is small in mobile phones, so it is better to read it from tab. It's also not easy to carry your books daily to college in MBBS, because like as I said, it's like this fat books, it's difficult to carry. So if you want to refer to PDFs, then it is like it will definitely be useful. Also from second or third year, if you wish to take up a subscription of an app like Marrow, then all these apps work on either mobile phones or tabs. On laptops, you don't get the app version, you'll have to go for the website. So it is much more convenient on the app, and many of them tend to take up tabs or iPads for this purpose as well. So yeah, whether to go for a tab like an Android tab or an iPad, that is a different question. So then coming to the basic stationery and pens you will be needing. So in our university, like in the final exam, we had to write by black ballpoint pen. So like initially I was used to writing in a blue pen, and I used to write all my internal exams with the blue dot pen as well. But then we were told to shift to black ballpoint pen and practice writing from that. So like it's better if you confirm with your seniors or professors, like what kind of pen is preferred in the university exams, and use the same pen throughout the year, so that it will be easier for you to adapt to that pen, and like it will just make the process easier during the final exams. So for stationery, you will be needing the black ballpoint pen, as in our case, and then HNE pencils, as I informed before, and then color pencils, just for the case of anatomy diagrams. It is better to color code the diagrams in anatomy because like that's how we were taught to do, like red for artery, blue for veins, and yellow for nerves. That is how we used to draw our anatomy diagrams. And like during our final exams, we were told that color pencils, they don't get scanned because our evaluation was like everything was automated, electronic based. So our answer scripts we used to be scanned and uploaded, and then from that scanned version it used to get evaluated. So for that we had to color with pens, color pens we had to use, like blue pen for vein, red pen for artery, and then yellow colored glass pencil we were using for this nerves. So just confirm that with your seniors or anatomy professors, and then go use it accordingly. And this was a short guide on things that you will be needing before you start your MBBS journey. I hope I've covered everything. Feel free to ask your questions or add on to the points in the comments down below. Share this with anyone who is starting their MBBS journey this year. Until next time, take care.